Greetings and welcome to Bubble Hearthing. I'm ShadowBlue13 and we're going to be looking into the lethal puzzles for the Boomsday project in the Puzzle Lab. I know I'm a little late to the party, but maybe I can help out a few people. If I just help one person.
Interested in my Necrean experiment.
So we're gonna go start with the beginning. Doing this just in case, like, at whatever point you're at, you can just kind of fast forward to it. And it shouldn't be like too much for spoilers, at least. I'm going to be trying to do a little more of a slightly in-depth and analytical look at the puzzles, see what they're trying to teach you, because usually they're trying to teach you something. Instead of just being like, play this, okay, you win. However, in this case, there's not really too much to go over. You want to play Cold Blood with the combo to get the extra damage on Blue Gill Warrior. The only other card we can play to enable the combo is Deadly Poison. In order to play that, we need to hero power first to have a weapon. Play Deadly Poison, do that, hit, and we're there. It's also worth noting, not for this puzzle, but for someone in the future, there may be multiple solutions. In fact, there are multiple solutions to different puzzles. I'm going to show you the one that I came across while I was playing, but if you find your own, then more power to you. Hey, go for it. Alright, Frostbite. Now, we only have 4 mana, so we can't play all of these cards. So we have to figure out, well, which 2 are we going to play then? Well, Frostbolt is nice, deals 3 damage. We have 2 of those. The other one is Ice Lance. It freezes a character. If they're already frozen, though, you deal 4 damage. So this deals 4 damage if we freeze it. This also freezes. And 4 is bigger than 3. The trap immediately is to just play both of these, hit him in the face, and then attack with the Mana Worm. And that will be 1 damage short. But if we do this and then Ice Lance, we get that extra point of damage. It's actually played a lot with old style like tempo aggro mages. You'd use that just to do a whole bunch of damage. Alright, the Battle Boar. As the name implies, we're going to play the boar. Because it has charge, you can attack right away. The next most likely candidate for Hall of Fame because it's a 1 mana, 1/1 charge, and apparently people find many ways to break this character. This card, I should say. Alright, the only other way we could even do damage is if we rock bite our weapon in our face, but that's not really the best idea. We kind of cap out at 6 damage there and then we cry. Alright, so we have the boar, that's nice. See, now we have to buff the boar because it only has 1 attack. Well, if we give it Wind Fury, then we have to basically do less buffing, about half. But now we only have 3 mana left over. So let's see, well, Raid Leader only gives 1 attack, so it does 4 damage, that's definitely not what we want. This is 1 mana deal plus 2, and we can only play 1 Rockbiter weapon. Let's just see, we have 3 mana. There's really only 1 option here. You can take that option and go twice to the face. So if you want to take a look at my actual first impressions, because obviously, you know, I've gone through this, as you can see by the screen previously, then feel free to check out my Twitch. There's a link in the description down there-ish. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to get my fingers even. Yeah, that's close enough. And you'll be able to see my first time going through it. It's quite a while, and there's a few puzzles that gave me a really hard time, and one in particular that drove me fairly well insane, I'll say. Alright, but for this current puzzle, we have a very nice Flame Tongue Totem buffing adjacent minions, and we have some taunts in the way for the first time, so we gotta go through these taunts. So, whenever you see something with 4 health and you have a 4 attack, then we do that. 3 health, 3 attack, do that, don't waste any points to damage numbers. Now, what do we want to do? Well, we want to play our minions next to the Flame Tongue to get the bonus damage out there. Just to drive this point home a little more, I'm gonna put the Wolf Rider right here. In Hearthstone, you can place your minions pretty much wherever you want inside the board. In between minion to the side, to the other side, and it can become very useful. This is just showing you a little bit of board positioning, so you can do that, attack, play one over here, in between those two. This buff goes away, but we already attacked, so we already used that. Similarly, we can do this again. This is going to go down to 1 attack now, but we already attacked with it. It's also worth noting that if I was trading into something, and these were all like freshly out, then I would want to attack with this thing, this would die, then this one would be next to it, and then now I'll get the buff, so something to consider there. Not applicable in this situation, but it's something along the similar lines. And that's more likely to occur in an actual game, is how the order you trade your minions in if you have Flame Tongue Totem. Alright, Frothing. So with any Frothing Berserker, he loves Whirlwind effects, including Whirlwind itself. Any damage, especially Whirlwinds, and when you want to get a Whirlwind, you want to get as many creatures on the board as possible, and then use the Whirlwind and get a whole bunch of attack. So let's do that. The Rabid Worgens cannot attack face, so if they die, they die. If they die, they die. But anywho, we got all the minions we can on the board. Let's Whirlwind. Nothing's gonna die from it, so it's just a little attack boost there. Alright, well, I went from 2 to 6. That's pretty useful. It's also worth noting that he gets double buffed essentially. Whenever a minion attacks another minion, he gets +2 instead of +1 because they're each taking damage. So it's 2 instances of damage. So we're going to attack here. We go from 6 to 8. And then we're going to attack here to go from 8 to 10. And we're 1 damage short. And, well, we have 1 card left. So we need to get some armor in order for Shield Slam to even have any effect. And we're going to hit the Frothing Berserker as our last target. Goes from 10 to 11, just because, you know, it was only 1 instance of damage. It was 2 damage, but 1 instance. And then hit him in the face. I'm pretty sure Frothing Berserker is okay with taking damage. He probably enjoys it a little bit. I'm sure he enjoys it. Probably a lot of it. Moving on from those thoughts. Alright, and the title here is Leroy Returns. Well, that means we probably have to play the Leroy, although the name can be a little misleading, as we'll get to soon enough. And how does it return? Well, we don't have a Shadow Step, but we have Reincarnate, which is kind of like a... It's almost like a Shaman Shadow Step. So it kills the thing, then it brings it right back to full health. Notably, it kind of resets the charge on him. So let's play Leroy. Oh, but we want to attack. We got these taunts in the way. Well, how are we going to clear that? Well, this is annoying. We can attack this and then return it and then attack that one and then return it again and then hit face for 6. That's not lethal at all. What can we do here, though? With the Ticking Abomination, the only other card with, like, you know, an effect on it. Deal 5 damage to your minions. Hey, so if we can kill this, it'll get rid of these 2. And, well, we have Reincarnate, so let's do that. It will destroy it. It'll bring it back. But the rest of the board will be down. So, there we go. That gets the taunts out of the way. We Leroy, we Reincarnate or return Leroy, as it will be. Comes back, all ready to charge once again. And this time he has chicken. At least I have chicken. Time's up, let's do this. Alright, well, time's still going actually, but we're doing this. Okay, moving on now. Another taunt to get through here. Alright, so we gotta kill the taunt, right? And we have 3-ish ways to do it, but it's really just 2. Because technically we could, you know, play 3 spells, buff this guy up to 4 attack, and then ping. But that's using a lot of resources to kill a taunt minion. We can do this in many fewer resources. So Fireball can deal 6 damage to anything, including the face. And it could kill this in 1 shot. Okay, it's a little extra damage, but whatever. The other spell we have that deals damage is Arcane Blast. This only deals damage to minions. So if you have a spell that only deals damage to minions, play that on the minion. Because Fireball can go face. So you don't want to do that, and then be like, well, this is kind of useless now. We do need to give it a little spell damage boost. Luckily, this one gets an extra little boost from its effect. So let's drop the Cosmic Anomaly, because we can. You could drop the Celestial Emissary first if you wanted to. I believe you could. Could you? No, actually, no, you can't do that. That's why I didn't do it. Okay, cool. We're gonna Arcane Blast. Attack, okay. Because we need this to specifically hit the Fireball. So now we could just drop the Celestial Emissary. No, that's another trap. We don't want to do that. Because this only buffs the next spell you play. And if we played this, we'd have 3 mana left over. We'd have to Fireball. Oh, that's not a problem. We have the coin. But if you play the coin immediately after the Celestial Emissary, it gives your coin +2 spell damage, which does nothing. And of course, we're playing the Emissary because it was +2 spell damage instead of just +1 from Kobold Geomancer. So we coin first to avoid that little trap there. Celestial Emissary, Fireball to the face, and then Mana Worm finishes him off. The only other time you see some kind of interaction like that, and it's worth noting that, you know, you want to play the spell you want to get more damage on first with him, if you're playing him in a deck. Most often you see in Rogue, make sure you play the coin before you prep if you're going to do it in the same turn. Because if you prep and then play the coin thinking I'm going to have like a 4 mana discount, no. You just made your coin cost 3 less, which didn't do anything for you. Okay, onwards now. This taunt is here. I think they just like these taunts because there's really no reason for him to be here. We can't charge in with anything anyway. But anywho, so we have the taunt to ignore. We have Clockwork Automaton, buffing our hero power. Beyond that, the only damage we can do is Arcane Shot, so we're going to have to get a big ol' hero power. We need to get to 30. Well, if we have 1 Clockwork Automaton, that's buffing up to 4. If, for argument's sake, we had a second one, that would buff it up to 8. A third would be 16, and a 4th Clockwork Automaton would be 32, which would be lethal. All we have to do is push the button. So is there any way to get 4 of these guys out here, or maybe 3 and 2 hero powers, because we have this Black Hole Pixie which could do that? Well, Carnivorous Cube is notorious for its ability to multiply. So, you think it'd be the rabbits, but no. It's this guy. We're going to trigger the Death Rattle without killing it using Play Dead, a Hunter's favorite card recently. A lot of Death Rattle Hunter going around. And now, well, it makes more sense to certainly Hunter's Mark and kill it again. And that'll get us our fantastic mark of... which means we just push the button, and we're done with this guy. Well, almost done. I think we got one more puzzle to go through. And I think this is the trickiest puzzle of them all. Here we go, start with a full board. Oh my goodness, so many options, except nothing can attack, so no options there. Only one mana, only one play, and it is the backup plan. Always have a good backup, and this is why. The backup plan, fire was still on. It's like, oh, you're healing for some reason, but you're damaging, so we're healing. And then all the go for the board, and it's just like, oh, look at this. How pretty. I think someone had a fun time with this. Let's just have a puzzle where it just kind of solves itself.
I think that will do.
Alright.
So
there we go. That was fun, and that is the end of Poison Master Pollard. He's still there, but he's gonna take a break, I guess. He's gonna go lay for an undisclosed amount of time. Alright, next up we have Miss Myra Rotspring herself. Is it Mrs.? Miss? I don't know. It seems like she'd probably be a single person. I mean, if she got a partner, they'd probably be dead. I mean, if it was an undead partner, maybe, but if it was not, then she'd probably kill them. It was an accident, I swear, but, you know. Alright, moving on. Okay, now we have the Tundra Rhino giving all our beasts charge. We got a couple beasts in hand, that's worth noting. We also have the Stranglethorn Tiger in here. It's a beast, so if it was just played this turn, it would have charge, but it's not really an issue there. But it is frozen, so it cannot attack. Now we have 3 cards in hand that each cost 3. Obviously, we have 5 mana, we can only play one of them. With 2 mana left over, it's just hero power right now. Cool. There's no buffs in hand, so we can attack face, because we're not going to buff anything. So now, what do we do with the last 3 mana? Well, we can King Mukla. It'll have charge, so it can deal 5 damage, and while the opponent gets the bananas, so not too useful. Kill Command also does 5 damage, but we need 7 damage, so that's not going to work out. Ironbeak Owl. I covered this in a video I made a while ago, admittedly, about things you might not know about Hearthstone, where if you silence a minion that is frozen, it will remove the frozen effect. It's not a pseudo charge if you freeze something you just played, but it's giving this thing charge anyway, so whether it's freshly played or not, you get that damage in there, and that's how you solve the puzzle. And that is how you solve the puzzle, and this is how I drink some water. That's my method. You can use your own, do whatever you want to do. Alright, we gotta dominate this dinosaur. Look at that. King Crush, you ain't got nothing on me. Ain't got nothing. Alright. So, we see Sylvanas. Whenever you see a minion in these puzzles that can attack, you probably want to be able to attack face most of the time. If you can, it's not a bad idea. In order to do that, though, we have to first get through these 2 taunts. So, how are we going to do that? Well, we can attack one, we can Holy Smite the other one, but that's using a resource and using the attack. It's kind of wasteful. What else can we do? This doesn't get through a taunt. It can notably kill Sylvanas or the King Crush. Alright. This only does damage to the face. This doesn't do that. Potion of Madness. Gain control of a minion. Costs 2 or less. And it gives it charge. It's not very well noted that it gives it charge, but it does. This guy has toasted some science about that, where if you have... oh geez, Jenny of Zephyrs, which is going to be in some puzzles further out. That if you played Potion of Madness on, an opponent's minion, that's possible. It copies the effect and it gives Jenny of Zephyrs charge. Alright, so now, we can just run the taunt to the taunt, and that's 2-for-1. Whenever you play Potion of Madness, unless you're killing your opponent right away, or just getting something out of the way that's crucial, you usually want to do a 2-for-1. Take their minion, use their minion to kill another one of their minions, and kill them both off. And that is a 2-for-1 trade. You use 1 card, kill 2 of your opponent's cards, victory. Alright, so now the void's clear, let's attack. Alright, and now we want to be able to somehow trigger her death rattle, because if we could take that King Crush, that'd be great. How do we do it? Well, we just gotta shadow her death. That is the only option, even if we buff Holy Smite, it's not gonna do any damage. So she dies, burns the tree, we attack with King Crush. And now our options are, well, we gotta either play Geomancer or Mind Blast, and we always play Holy Smite. Well, if we always play Holy Smite, let's say Holy Smite Geomancer, it only does 3 damage. That's not great. Okay, let's play Holy Smite then. We know we're not doing the Geomancer. It must be Mind Blast. Also, a wise Day 9 once said, always play Mind Blast last to really just get to your opponent here. I know it's a computer, but I think it gets him every time. Okay, moving onwards. Ah, the Spud has made his first appearance. You're gonna love and you're gonna hate this thing.
Ah, weapons.
So,
Like
the Spud,
your
let's go over this
style.
first. It has 10 health. After the minion survives damage, switch sides. Goes to your side of the board, goes to the other side of the board, you know, it switches. That's what switching does. Death Rattle, destroy your hero. So, we want this to be on her side of the board when its Death Rattle goes off, and then she dies. It's over. That's like another alternate win condition imposed specifically in the puzzle labs here. Which is interesting. It'd be cool if they actually made a card kind of like this on your side that's like super powerful, but if it died, you just lost. That'd be interesting. Anyhow, so we want to deal some damage to this because we gotta bring it down from 10 to like nothing on her side of the board. So let's hit with the Wisp. Obviously nothing here is going to go face because the damage is negligible. We want to kill the Spud. Alright, and Frothing Berserker, like I said, loves Whirlwinds, so let's play the Blood Razor to get that Whirlwind effect. Even has the same animation. Hey, what do you know? Alright, the Wisp died, but it already did his damage, so that's cool. And now we have a 6 attack and 8 health. Well, those are really close together. If there's any way to buff this guy... Oh, look at that, Inner Rage. Actually goes a little extra. We'll just do that. And we kill the Spud on her side of the board. And there we go.
That's something I haven't felt in a while.
The question is, does she like it? I think that's something that Frothing Berserker and her have in common. Could be a dangerous combination. Alright, a Dim Flame. Alright, I kind of like the wording on this one. So, what do we have? What are these good cards now? Well, this is the Gurubashi Berserker, which saw play in the days of old. Whenever this minion gains damage, or so takes damage, whatever you want to call it, gain +3 attack. So this one doesn't have any, it only has 1 health left over, so it really can't take any damage. This one has 3 health, so we could potentially deal 2 points of 1 point of damage. Deal 1 damage 2 times to it, that's the better way of phrasing that. And it would actually gain +6 attack, putting it at like 8, which means we only have to deal 2 damage to Myra. That's pretty good. I'm sure we could find 2 damage somewhere. And we gotta kill this taunt. Well, let's kill the taunt real quick. Okay, here we go. We attack, we do this, okay, we're done. Also, we know we want to deal a little bit of damage to him, so this is the easiest way to deal 1 point of damage. Alright, now what else can we do? Well, we have Forbidden Flame. Spend all your mana, deal that much damage to a minion. So if you just did it to him right now, it would kill him, which is not what we're trying to do. But say we had 0 mana, we could still cast it, and this guy has spell damage. Not really useful in Standard, but I guess you could use it in Wild. But if you cast this with 0 mana, but you have a spell damage minion, notice that it starts glowing. That's the little thing whenever you mouse over a spell damage minion on the board. It'll kind of show you what it's affecting in your hand. So it will affect it. It will give it +1 spell damage, and 0 + 1 is 1. Means it does the 1 damage, and it gives them the bonus attack. Okay. I love the little messages in between, by the way. The little great job, way to go, you did it. But I like that. It's like, hey, you know, a little something to keep you going.
Hands-on
the lethal
research
lepers.
is the most
Very nice.
efficient.
So, once again, these 2 can attack, and there's a taunt. Can we clear this taunt in a useful way so that these 2 can, well, attack and get the damage in there? Because 7 out of 15's almost half. Let's see, I got a few cards here. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Backstab. 0 mana, deal 2. Perfect. Do that. Now we can attack, so let's put damage in there. Nothing go to waste. Alright, now we note that we have a couple spells in here. We have the Sinister Strike and the Razor Petal and the Backstab. But these 2 deal damage. Well, we've noticed also that in these puzzles we kind of need all the damage we can just to get it done. So, just to get her done, right? So, anywho, this Cold Geomancer normally has spell damage +1, but it's been silenced because the game is cruel. So is there any way to get him out there without the silence, to remove the silence? Well, if we have Shadow Step, we can cast it on him, and it'll actually be free, basically. 0 mana here, it'll make him cost 0. We just get some free spell damage, so let's do that. Notably, if you cast this and then double-click the minion immediately before it goes back to your hand, it'll be played immediately. Just a little APM there, a little shortcut. Cool. And then once again, you see it's, you know, making all the cards that it's affecting glow. So, what are our options now for damage to Myra? Well, this deals damage to a minion, not too useful right now. This is 2 damage, and this is 4 damage. Well, 4 is bigger than 2, and they both count the same, so let's do that. Now with the leper gnomes, well, they can deal 2 damage, but they have to die. It's going to require an extra card. This is just 2 damage on its own. 2 damage on its own. Okay. So now our only option here is to play a leper gnome. And how do we kill a leper gnome? Backstab. How convenient. How convenient indeed. Alright, another one knocked out. Alright, moving on to the final puzzle. I don't believe so. I think there's something else after this. Yeah, there's one more after this one. Okay, the wall. And this is the taunt wall, as you can see. Many taunts to get through. How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to get a little help from her side of the board. Also, note, this guy has 10 attack. That's a lot of attack. She has 15 health. So if we can get this through, it's going to do a bunch of damage. Get a lot of that damage out of the way for us. So how do we get that through here? Well, we don't want to waste your attack on any of these guys. And if the abomination dies, it's going to deal the final 2 damage to you, and it's going to kill you, which is really bad. So let's find a way to either kill the abomination without this thing... Oh, yeah, to kill the abomination without this thing dying. In order to do that, we need to buff Grommash somehow. And luckily enough, the only buff we have in our hand, to a minion at least, is Rampage. So we're going to give him Rampage. Even buffs his attack, makes that easier. And now we can kill the abomination. Weapon has 4 attack. It has 4 health. Seems like a pretty good fit to me. Nice enough. It takes the Pompous Thespian away with it and softens up her side of the board. So kind of triple purpose almost. Maybe 4 purpose? Let's see. It removes the minion, it softens the board, deals some damage to her face. Okay, 3 purpose. I was at the first time. So now we have 3 things to remove. How are we going to do that the most effective way? Well, Shield Slam, we can armor up Shield Slam, and that'll deal a little bit of damage. We can armor and then, yeah. We get rid of 1 guy. Shield Slam always kills 1 thing. Alright, there's a 1-for-1 upgrade. Is useless now, we don't have a weapon. Okay. Whirlwind, well, if we have Whirlwind and Thalnos, then it's like a 2-for-2 kind of thing, because it'll kill these guys, which is alright, but not great value. Cleave, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions. So if we cleave, we manage to hit these 2, then that's 2-for-1, and that's value right there. Is there any way to guarantee we hit these 2? Well, we have to remove this guy first, and how do we do it? With the final card, which is Execute. So we can kill any of these things. We already have a pretty good way to kill these 2 things, so let's just use it on the one that needs to get out of our way. Then we cleave to clear the way, and capture the angry man. Orc, I guess. I mean, orc. Male orc? Probably not a man, though, just an orc. And the final puzzle is the 4 Horsemen. And, well, why is that name significant? Because if you look at Uther of the Ebon Blade, it changes your hero power to the 4 Horsemen. And once you get 4 Horsemen through the hero power on the board, you win the game. This is one of the 2. Well, I'll put it this way. There are 3 win conditions currently in the game, not counting the Spud, and that you can actually play. One of them is this one. You get all the 4 horses out, and you win the game immediately, regardless of the opponent's health, armor, or whatever. You win. Of course, it also means that your opponent can't have a Mind Breaker on the board, or you, but that's a very obscure thing to have. Very rare occasion. The other one that we just recently got is Mech-Cthulhu. If you get the death rattle to go off properly with, you know, nothing else basically at all in your hand, deck, and on the board, then you win the game. No questions asked, it's done. And the final one is the most popular one. You reduce your opponent's health to 0. Whether that's through fatigue or attacks or spells, whatever. That's the one that happens like 99% of the time. But not this time. So we know we gotta play this guy, and let's play it.
The light's justice has failed.
Okay, nice little animation there to make up for the kind of poor animation later. Alright, and now we got the battery packs here. This is something you're gonna see a few times in the puzzle lab. Refresh all your mana crystals for free. Kinda nice. And well, we can't play anything else, so let's do that. Go back to our full 10. Awesome. We know we have to play this 4 times, so let's start off right now with the 1. Let's see, which one are you? Oh, you're Nazgrim. Okay, cool. So we need 3 more things out there, and the best way to do that is let's take a look at our options. Well, Blackwalled Pixie is going to let us play an extra hero power. That's pretty good. And Auction Master Beardo is going to let us get a new hero power every time we play a spell. So let's play Auction Master Beardo.
Time is money, friend.
Alright, so now we do want to play some spells with them. However, if we play the Hammer of Wrath, we're only going to have 1 mana left over, so we can't hero power until we battery pack a second time, and that kind of wastes the spell and the hero power like activation. So that's not too useful. If we battery pack right now, then we will get another hero power, but that wastes the 5 mana we have left over. So the only other option is Blackfall Pixie, and we can hero power again. Perfectly. Now we got a 0 mana. Cool. That is Whitemane. Alright, just missing 2 more. Alright, so now we'll play the battery pack. No other options. I'm hitting in the face, and I have enough respect for Myra to not hit her in the face right now. In the previous, all those other puzzles, yeah, totally smack her in the face, but now we're going to take it easy. Alright, we get an activation. Well, let's go ahead and go for it. Alright, who do we have here? Is that Darian? I think that was Darian. Alright, cool. And so now the last thing we have is, the only thing we can do is actually Hammer of Wrath, which serves 2 purposes now. It's going to give us another activation, but more importantly, our board's full. We can't summon we cannot summon another horseman until we make space on the board. Obviously, I don't want to kill any of these horsemen because, well, we need them on the board. And these 2 won't die because they have too much health. So we're going to target one of the Glowtrons. Alright, give us a little coins from Beardo, as well as making room on the board. And unfortunately, I forgot the name of the last horseman in this scenario. So I think it starts with an L. I don't know. Morgraine? Is it Morgraine?
The time has come.
Trollbane. Thoros Trollbane. Okay. My mistake. But we still win.
Tricky.
And you had a little animation there with little things like, ooh, they attack, and I was like, oh, spirits. A lot of people were upset that it wasn't flashier. But I mean, if you're seeing the animation, either you lost, which is like, okay, maybe you don't want a super flashy thing, maybe you do, who knows. Or you won, and you just won, don't complain.
Seems Electra is about to explode.
Alright, on to Lil Stormy, we're almost there.
Why don't you give her some assistance?
Getting through, we're gonna hit Little Stormy around to prove that Little Stormy is tough enough, and then we can beat Electra. And I just gave you that, as well as Little Stormy's gonna tell you, yeah. Herself? I mean, saying that she is the best implies that the elementals do have a gender in this case. I'm not sure if you'd be a male or a female or just genderless. Who knows? Could be anything. Anywho. So, we have some taunts to get through as well as divine shields. And we have a Tyrion, so immediately you gotta think, well, Tyrion has 6 attacks, so that's a lot of damage we can do. And if Tyrion dies, we get a weapon that does a pretty decent amount of attack. So if we can get those 2 things in there, that's pretty significant. Alright, how are we gonna get through these things? Well, not too much. We can take off a divine shield, we can do a little bit of damage here. We have consecrates, those are pretty useful. Because then we can do AoE damage, which is what we want to do, with 3 things on the board. Pardon me a second. Okay, I've been pardoned. Fantastic. Alright, so we can consecrate, it gets rid of these 2 divine shields, brings you down to 2, we can attack him down to 1, it's okay. I'd rather get a little more out there. Luckily, Wild Pyromancer does a great job of getting a little more damage out there, and clearing things with the divine shield and such. It's almost like a pseudo spell damage +1 kind of thing. Not exactly, but it functions that way sometimes. And it does really well to work around divine shields. So, let's go. It doesn't work around them because the spell goes off anyway, but it's still pretty useful. Alright, let's do that damage, because this, if this goes off, it's going to kill the little 1/1 dude, so we gotta make some use out of him. Play the Wild Pyro, and then we consecrate. The spell goes off first, 2 damage, in this case just give it Divine Shields, and deal 2 to this thing, so do 1. Then Pyro goes off, and manages to clear the rest of the board. Awesome. We have a clear way here.
Don't test.
We can attack the Tyrion. Okay, let's take a look at our remaining options now. True Silver Champion. We equip it, we attack for 4, still left with 3 health. Not gonna be useful. Consecration. Take it, we deal 2 damage here, and Pyro goes off and kills itself and doesn't really do too much. So we're still missing damage there. Okay, we can also Hero Power. That's completely useless because it doesn't have charge. So we're considering, well, we have 4 mana, and we have 2 cards that total to 4 mana. Let's play them. Here we go. Blue Will, might as well attack there. And Equality, if you're not familiar with Pyro Equality, very, very popular combo here for Paladins. When you play Equality, like we saw with Consecration, the spell effect goes off first. In this case, all minions will go to 1 health. And then, well, Wild Pyro does 1 damage to everything, and they all have 1 health, so unless there's a Divine Shield out there, everything dies. In this case, that's useful because Tyrion dies, it gives us the Ashbringer, and we can use that Ashbringer to hit you in the face. And apparently it tickles. Oh, nice. There's one voice line here that makes me feel not too great for hitting on Stormy, but we gotta do what we gotta do. And then at the end, he's just like kind of better anyway, so that's cool. Alright, the hoppers. Let's play some hops. So, well, the whole goal is to play some hoppers and get a lot of damage out. They're going to attack through breakout, just give them charge. So that's kind of useful. Obviously, the last card we're going to play. So let's play the hoppers, because every time I play a hopper, it buffs the next one by 2. Plus 2, plus 2. Alright, well, that's the end of that. We don't have any more hoppers. We could Shadow Step hopper, which we will be doing, but it doesn't really do too much right now. We want to play Sonya Shadow Dancer. Very popular in Quest Rogue. Lets you replay minions that died. So if we can kill these things, and importantly, it brings them back at 1. It makes them 1 mana 1/1s. So it'll be pretty cheap to do as well. So how do we kill these guys then? That's our next goal. Well, backstab only kills this one, so let's kill this one. The eviscerate could have killed either one, but most importantly, it kills the one from their health. So there we go. Alright, let's just play the coin, because we gotta play the coin. I mean, sure, Pogo Hopper. Okay, play the coin, because it's a good idea. So we can play the other Pogo Hopper. Okay, and now we want to get one more activation, because if we just break out right now, we'll need a 14 damage. Not too great. So, in order to do that, we're going to have to Shadow Step and play another Hopper. And it's important to Shadow Step the weaker one, because the buff will still carry on, make you a 9/9. But we don't want to turn the 7/7 to a 9/9, we want to turn the 5/5 to a 9/9. And then we break out, and now we got all the damage we need.
Guess it
It's like a whirlpool in my stomach.
Yeah, you don't really see Sonya Shadow Dancer outside of Quest Rogue, so... Or, I mean, you could absolutely see it if you play a Pogo Hopper, certainly. As well as the Lab Recruiter, which was Poison Master Pollock. That was like his thing. So, yeah, just a thought there. Okay, the Corrupted Spirit. Apparently we have a Corrupted Spirit. So, worth noting, we have a lot of spells, and we have ratings elemental, which is probably going to be helpful reducing the cost of spells. Cool. Alright, beyond that, we have the Alchemy. So he's also worth thinking of. Well, if there's an Alchemy Soul Priest, is there any way to kill the opponent? And in this case, no. The only healing we have is Circle of Healing, which affects minions, and our Hero Power. Not so useful. Okay. What else can we do here? Well, this is a very popular combo as well. Divine Spirit, Inner Fire. Double your minion's health. In this case, we have 2. We can quadruple the minion's health. And then we change the attack to be equal to the health, which is a huge buff. If you have a low attack or whatever attack minion, but a high health, you can Divine Spirit, make their health even bigger, and then Inner Fire, or just Inner Fire, and now they have much more attack, in theory. Okay, so we're going to want to do that to something. This is going to be a way to get through. And, well, that means we're going to have to attack with something, and Potion of Madness doesn't state it, but it gives whatever minion you're targeting with it charge. I think I mentioned that earlier, but it gives a charge. So, in order to do that, well, we need a target for this. So we need to somehow bring your health down. The lesser applied application, that's a weird way of phrasing it, for Inner Fire is to, well, usually you buff your own minions, but you can also lower the attack of your opponent's minions. If they have, in this case, a higher attack than their health, if we play Inner Fire, it'll lower it down to 1 attack, and then we can target it with Potion of Madness. But before we play any spells, let's play the Radiant Elemental. Okay. Here we go. Now Inner Fire is free, saving us some mana there, so let's do that. It goes from 3 to 1, which is worth noting. Let's see, then we can Potion of Madness, but then let's start our line of thinking here. Potion of Madness, Divine, Inner Fire, goes from 1 to 2 to 4? We attack for 4? That's not really a whole lot. Oh, but if we do Circle of Healing, importantly, if we do it while Alchemy is on the other side of the board, then it'll heal it up to 5, and that's a little more health to be working with. If we Potion of Madness first, then Circle of Healing, then it kills it. So let's... Almost messed up, brother. Okay, Circle of Healing. We'll heal it, because it's not on our side of the board. Now let's take it. Now we can Divine Spirit, brings it to 10, Divine Spirit brings it to 20, Inner Fire makes the attack 20, and that is lethal! It's like, yes, quite, yes, really good. Okay, moving on to the next puzzle. Oh, Wrathguard. You want to say this guy never saw a whole lot of play? We're about to find out. Okay, so. Whenever this thing takes damage, it deals damage to your opponent's hero. I mean, a 2-mana 4/3 has to have some kind of drawback, but this is a significant one, trust me. Alright, so we gotta deal as much damage to this thing as we can, without killing it, until we can just hit for lethal. So how do we do that? Well, let's see here. Charge could be kind of useful. Okay, we can go face, or we can hit this guy. Shield Slam. As a warrior, you can get a whole lot of armor, and then shield slam for a bunch. Spoiler alert, that's what we're gonna do. So now we're thinking, how do we get a lot of armor? Whirlwind, it could be useful. Okay, it doesn't do too much right now, but could be useful. Eternium Rover, whenever it takes damage, gain 2 armor. Okay, that works with the Whirlwind. Nice. Armor Smith, whenever a minion takes damage, gain 1 armor. Also works well with Whirlwind. Corner Sentry. Okay, summons things for your opponent and puts a minion on the board. Alright, well, it's nice. We can use that along with the Armor Smith and Whirlwind. And Dry Whisker Armorer. For each enemy minion, gain 2 armor. So now we can give him some minions, give him some raptors, and then gain armor off that. That's pretty useful. Beyond that, we have the Red Band Wasp. Okay, it can rush in, it can hit this guy for a little bit of damage. Gains attack, maybe we want to give it charge later and hit for more, we'll see. Bash is interesting. We could deal 3 damage to your face and then gain armor, and use that as a shield slam later. It is a little expensive though. And your Ravaging Ghoul is cool, it's another Whirlwind effect. So let's first play the cards that are going to give us armor. Okay, that's Eternium Rover, that's Armor Smith. Dry Whisker Armor also gives us armor, but first we want to play the Corner Sentry to put some raptors on that side of the board to gain more armor. Okay, here we go. Alright, now that we've played all those cards that are somewhat obvious in the correct order, which is just play this before this, the other 2 really don't matter. Let's see, well we have 3 mana left over, well I could Ravaging Ghoul and then we're done. And that certainly doesn't do what we need. Because you definitely want to play Shield Slam. So we really have 2 mana left over, which means we can't play the Bash. We could play the Red Band Wasp, but I don't know. Alright, we talked about Whirlwind giving you a whole lot. Let's Whirlwind. There we go, works very well with these 2. The Eternium Rover and the Armor Smith. Also deals 1 damage through this guy, which is useful in this case. Alright, well, now we have 14. Wow, that's a lot of armor. Okay, so if we were to Shield Slam right now, you would deal 14 damage, and we would have 4 damage left to go. So how do we get like 4 more armor or a little more damage, something along those lines? Well, we have charge, so we could charge face. Okay, it's not the most useful thing because nothing deals 4. Okay, is there any way you can get some more armor and maybe deal damage at the same time? Well, charge on this guy. This only gets armor when anything takes damage. Cool. So anything. This one only gains armor when it takes damage. So if it takes damage, it'll trigger both. So if we do this, run it into the Wrath Guard, it'll damage itself, give us 2 armor, and then this will come into effect, goes another armor, and this one took a little damage, so we're able to Shield Slam for the 17, which is why it doesn't see anything. Okay. Very good smashing, really well done. Ah, this puzzle. Alright, this one's a little interesting. Healing hammers.
I love the smell of fresh rain.
Don't you love the smell of fresh rain? Okay. So let's take a look at the damage we have here. Well, we have the Stormwind Knight. Interestingly, I'm going to save the significant one for last. Spoiler alert. Alright. What else do we have here? We have Tentacle of N'Zoth. Deal 1 damage, but only does to minions. We have 2 of those, so 2 damage there. Coin, cool. Lightning Bolts, that's a little bit of damage, that's cool. Elven Archer, also a little bit of damage, but something. We can use this to buff something to deal more damage. And we have Healing Rain, which is a heal, of all things. What's the other creature we have that I haven't mentioned here? Ah, the Cure-All. Whenever a minion is healed, it deals 2 damage to the enemy hero. It's worth noting that Healing Rain deals its healing in single increments. So each healing effect goes off, and then it'll, you know, trigger things multiple times, as opposed to one big heal. Like, say, I don't know, Ancestral Healing, is it the one that heals a minion to full and then gives it taunt, whatever that card is for the shaman. It could give you a really big heal, or just say Greater Healing Potion. Yeah, it's a big heal, but it's just 1 heal. This actually counts as multiple heals, for whatever reason. I like it though. So, since we don't have enough damage, counting all these things just to go face and win, we need to get Healing Rain to trigger this guy as many times as possible. In order to do that, we're going to have to get the Tentacles of N'Zoth to trigger a few times. But before we do that, let's get some more minions on the board. These can't survive, so not really going to be useful there. But Defender of Argus is going to be kind of useful. Let's put it right here. Right here or right there. You don't want to put it between these two, it just makes them harder to kill. Notably, yes, this just made the Tentacle of N'Zoth harder to kill. We're not going to buff anything else, so may as well get these attacks on. Alright, so we could easily Elven Archer this thing, and it blows up, and then Elven Archer the next one, but that's using 2 things to kill 2 things, is not very resourceful. Instead, even though it's a little bit of overkill, if you use a lightning bolt and kill the 2/2 tentacle, its effect will in turn kill this one. Alright, that's pretty good. Now we got 2 things at 1 health. That's as low as I can go before killing them. That's nice. What else can we do here? Well, if we weaken you a little more, that'll do some more damage. So for every 1 point of damage you're lowered, it deals 2 from this thing. So if we use Elven Archer, instead of going face, she basically gets 1 more damage out of it. Same thing with the next one. Alrighty, let's just coin because we can, because we need to. And well, you have 2 health now, so let's lightning bolt the face, because we'll be lightning bolt you. And then it'll work. And Healing Rain for a very nice voice line here. I actually really like the voice acting for all these encounters. I think it's pretty good. Although Electra is a little obnoxious, but I suppose that's how it's supposed to be. Dr. Boom ones are really funny. At least I think so. But regardless, I think all the voice acting is just very nicely done. I think I could have lightning bolted him and then Elven Archer to get him down to 1 health instead. And it might have gotten him to -2, but it's not necessary. But it's fun! Alright. Next up here we have Toasted Hydra! No, Toasted there, I believe this was a situation that Disguised Toast ran into in a game. I don't know if it was these exact cards, but it was something very similar to this. Where I think it was arguing with chat. It's like, no, there's no lethal there, no, I didn't miss anything. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, yes, I did. Something along those lines. Anywho. In this case, it is very much worth noting that the Hydra, this is how we're going to get lethal. Obviously, the only thing we can do right now is just hit face, and okay, that's not damage at all. Every time it takes damage, it deals 3 damage to your hero. That's why it's a 5 mana 8/8. There's got to be some kind of drawback to it, right? Alright, otherwise we just attack face. So let's say this thing goes off, sure. Also means that we want to deal damage in increments of 1. We don't want to deal 2 damage to it, so let's start off with attacking face. Cool. Alright, 23. Okay, it takes some damage. Alright, he's at 20. Well, he has 6 health, and 6 times 3 is 18? So somehow we have to get an extra 2 damage at least onto him. Is there any way to somehow deal more damage to this than it has health? Well, let's show you how you do it. If you use these pyros, which is obviously going to be a lot of damage, to trigger it at the right time, it can actually go into negative health. In order to do that, we want to make him have 1 health from a spell, and then both pyros trigger, making it 0 and then -1. That's our goal here. So let's play both the pyros. The first spell we have to play is Commanding Shout, which will stop these from dying, which is good because we need multiple activations. So there we go. Take some damage, oh no. We have to play the coin, that's the only thing we can play. And I believe we can play Whirlwind or Blood Ticker at this point, because both of them can deal 1 damage to the Hydra. I'm just going to do Blood Ticker here just for flavor because I want to. But notably, we're going to do this, it's going to bring it down to 1 health. Then these are both going to trigger, and it'll actually go to -1, getting that final activation after. So there we go, deals 3. 1 pyro goes off, goes to 0, but it doesn't die yet because we're still on these little effects. For whatever reason, it is saved from death for a moment. And we get the last point of damage out there. Awesome. And splishy splashy, splishy splashy. Okay, the Hydra is no more. And now for the final, I believe? Yes. Cthulhu, Cthulhu, Cthulhu! This is the one where the name is trying to lead you astray a little bit. So that is the battle cry. Or not battle cry, but is like when you play it, the sound bit, I suppose we can call it. For Disciple of Cthulhu. When you play him, he says Cthulhu 3 times, just like that. Yeah. But oddly enough, you do not play Disciple of Cthulhu for this puzzle. So what do we have here? What do we have on the board? Well, we have Cthulhu. That's going to be a finisher, of course, because we can't really attack with anything right now. We could with Shadow Madness, but it's not going to deal anywhere near 20. So we got to buff Cthulhu as much as we can. Alright, well we have Crazed Worshipper. Whenever he takes damage, buff your dude. Alright, that's pretty useful, especially with Spirit Lash. We have Hooded Acolyte. Whenever a character is healed, give Cthulhu a little +1/+1. Alrighty. Whenever a fighting minion dies, buff Cthulhu by 1. And then on the enemy side of the field is spell damage +1. And after you cast a spell, buff your Cthulhu. Okay, cool. So, how are we going to get the most activations out of these things that we need to? Well, first off, this is +2/+2 for 1 spell, 1 card. I think that's pretty useful. Also push another thing on the board for later on for the Spirit Lash, because we're gonna another minion we can heal. So let's back in our Evil. Buff our Cthulhu. It's worth noting, not for this puzzle, but if you're ever playing with Cthulhu, that if you somehow have it out there and it survives and you don't immediately win, any buffs you play, buff it on the board. So it just gives another little attack if you're attacking with it. Alright, so there we are. We're going to want to get a big heal. Because we played a minion, we get a little extra there. Let's play Spirit Lash. That'll deal 1 damage to this guy, but notably this thing is damaged now. Okay. Now we can do something with this one maybe. This thing's damaged, and we'd like to heal it and get the bonus from our Hooded Acolyte. In order to do that, we need it to be our minion. So let's take it. Let's attack, of course. Alright, the reason why we didn't take it earlier is because if we Spirit Lash, it would have killed itself before getting all the value out of it. Now we want to heal and give another +5 to our Cthulhu. Play a Spirit Lash again. This is going to get a bonus because this thing is going to die, as well as I think it triggers for the spell damage bonus. Spell damage with playing a spell. So we'll Spirit Lash. Yes, we get a buff for playing a spell, and then it dies, and we get a buff for a minion dying. And 17? 17? 17! And then all the eyeballs come out, and it's like, nice. Your deck has betrayed.
Let me introduce
Alright,
you
and
to
that is Little
Electra.
Stormy.
She's
Down for the count, but very happy.
bit of a tempest
It's
right
a
now.
bit of a tempest right now. Yeah, well, we'll see that pretty soon. Okay, moving onwards to Electra Storm Surge? Storm Rage? Probably not Storm Rage. Probably not related to Malfurion.
Dilly-dally much
Storm Surge.
longer, and
Okay.
I suspect there won't be an Electra
get
to
right in it.
assist.
Into the fray. I should probably play my... It makes me want to play my Shudder Walk deck a little more, because it has Storm Surge in it. It's a really strong card. Unfortunately, Shudder Walk is kind of overshadowed by what, all the Zoolocks running around, Heal Zoo, as well as mech decks. Death Rattle Hunter is a big thing. Okay. We have the potato again. Marvelous. So how are we going to get this thing to take the damage and go back and forth a little bit? This guy can attack. That's nice. And we know we're not going face, so we're going to want this thing to be on the other side of the board and then attack it. Alright, this is the first time we're seeing Defile. Not the last. The last time we see Defile will make me very happy. Of course, in the order I'm going in, it won't be the last time for the videos, but the last puzzle I did, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that was pain. Okay, so moving forward now. So we have to basically defile this thing away, or do something to get it to blow up on her side of the board. And let's do a little bit of damage to this thing so we can make more sense of things. First off, we have Skaterbot. The only mech that we have is the River Crocolisk.
Did someone say?
I don't know why I just said that. The only mech that we have is the Spud. Jeez.
No.
River Crocolisk. Now a mech. Alright. So let's go ahead and Skaterbot. Do we want to play it right here? Well, we already have a 1 health minion for Defile to go off, so we don't really need that. Counterintuitively somewhat, we're going to actually temporarily buff the Spud. But then we're going to remove the buff immediately by dealing 2 damage. So basically, it goes to 9 now. Okay? So on the other side of the board, how nice, we can attack it with a Kodo. Okay, cool. This also gives us the 4 health minion. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 4, 6. So in order for this thing to go off and kill the Spud, we need minions with 3 health and a minion with 5 health for the chain to go off completely. And luckily enough, the health is appropriate so that when the file goes off and does that, it will die on her side of the board. So how do we get a minion with 3 health and a minion with 5? Well, this has 4, which is completely useless. This also has 4, which is useless. But this could have 5. So let's do that. We can manipulate the Twilight Drake a little bit, but this one can only have 4 or 5. And the 4 is also already taken. So let's go ahead and play this one. Let's just make sure. Yes, okay. Just double checking, you don't want to make a mistake. Yes, I have notes on the side, but this is also mostly just from memory and me doing this multiple times. Alright. So now we want the Twilight Drake to have 3 health. The only way to do that is to dump pretty much everything except for the 2 Defiles. So coins are easy. Coin, cool. Alright, the only other card we can use is Shield Bearer, because if we Defile right now, then it's just going to start ticking everything off, and that's not what we want to do. So let Shield Bearer just get it out of our hand. Now we can Twilight Drake with 2 cards in hand, gets +2 health, goes to 3. And the big finisher, Defile, and let's just watch all the little explosions go off there and watch the potato become hot in between each one. There we go, 2. Take some damage, goes to 1 there. Final bit of damage goes off, and it's Electra in the face. Or perhaps the giant shoulder pads. That's another option. It's a pretty big target there. Great job. Well done. Bully Day. Yes, Bully Day. Pride's Fall. Not really sure. Okay, I realized immediately now why it's called Pride's Fall.
Act quickly!
Act quickly? No, I mean, maybe. Okay, so, what do we have here? Is there a reason I didn't do... No, that's something in the future. Okay, so we have our Tundra Rhino that can attack. Are there any buffs for it before we attack? Well, actually, yeah, the Timberwolf gives it a buff. Let's play the Timberwolf. Cool. Okay, Timberwolf now. Not wasting damage. Timberwolf itself can attack. Let's do that. Now, these are just here for flavor, just to be kind of adorable. They kind of are, though, so it works for me. Alright. Now, beyond that, let's see. Leroy has 6 attack. That's pretty useful. Leroy's a big finisher. Savannah Hymen, though, would have 7, because he's going to get buffed by the Timberwolf, whereas Leroy would not. So let's play the Savannah Hymen. Ah, yes. Okay. Punch with that. 7's a big number. Cool. Okay. Now we have 9 left over. Let's coin, because there's no reason not to coin. No spell interactions here, so coin happened. Cool. Alright, now what can we do? Well, we can Wolf Rider in. It's not a beast at all, so it's just going to deal 3. Swamp Leech will also deal 3, because it's a beast. So let's 3 mana versus 1 mana? Yeah, let's do that. Gives us a few more options here. So 3, alright, now we have to deal 6, and we have 3 mana left over. Cool. We can do this, deal 3, then we're stuck, so that's definitely not going to be played. We can kill command the face, but that's 1 damage off. Hero power isn't going to be used at all. So what else can we do? Well, we got to kill command something. The only thing that has a death rattle is the Savannah Hymen. So let's try that out and see. Yes, it will spawn the 2 hyenas, and they are both going to get buffed. So that actually gives us the 6 damage we need. The first time I saw that, I didn't realize, well, I don't want to kill command that. We lose damage. I was like, wait a minute, no, they get buffed and it's actually gaining damage. Okay, cool. Oh my, would you look at this. Okay. A lot of bronze gatekeepers. Yes, keepers of the gate, indeed.
I'm overwhelmed.
And also a lot of guys that attack it. Look at all these dudes. Oh my goodness, all the Doom Guards. So this is 20 if we get that through. Lethal, awesome. We have other ways to deal damage as well, so maybe we don't need the full 20. And we have a Defile. Notably, these things all have to die. Defile is probably your friend when you have a lot of things to get through. Also, it's good to know that we have Hellfire and AoE, so these, if we use Hellfire right now, these all go to 2. So we really only need Defile to deal 2 damage. That's a little hint there. And do we have a safe way for Defile to go off? Because we don't want to tick through through the 5, because then it's also going to kill all our Doom Guards, and that's, you know, a little more than we asked for. So, if we make a 1 health dude, then we can have Defile just go through and do that. We have 2 options for that to go through, and this is the simplest one, is just to Mortal Coil right here, and then Defile. Nice and simple. Deals 1 damage, that dies, deals 2 damage, nothing dies, it stops there. Okay. Now all these things have 3 health, and we can Hellfire them. It is going to kill one of our Doom Guards, but the damage is going to be offset by the Goblin Bomb going off and the Hellfire hitting Electra in the face. And now the taunts are out of the way. Bam, bam, and a 3rd bam. Okay. I feel 3 bams is really the right amount of bams in this situation. Okay, continuing onwards. What do we have here? Ah, yes, this one. Shaman Strength, that's what it's called. You can read, I hope. If not, then I'm talking, so you could probably just follow that and you can take a look at what I'm doing here. Alright, so what are the ways we have to deal damage? Well, the Hydra could, you know, incur some damage. That's kind of useful. What else can we do here? The Bomb Squad. The Bomb Squad dies. Electra's going to take 5 damage. That's a big chunk of damage right there. Okay. As well as these things, they can attack. Tunnel Trog can get buffed from overloads. We only have 1 overload, so we probably want to play Crushing Hand. We can't play it on this thing because it's got that anti-magic shell on it, so we have to kill this with sheer brute force. But we can kill the Hydra with it. Notably, we're not going to deal 1 damage to the Hydra, but oh well. And Earth Shock is going to silence it, so we really don't want to do that. We can't silence you at all because you can't be targeted, and we don't want to hit our own minions.
This will
so this is how we're going to have to do things. A Flame Tongue Totem is coming out. We're gonna do this in order to buff our Emerald Reaver to 4, giving us just the right amount of damage to kill the bomb spot. And that's our spot. Awesome. Okay, we have 2 options now. We can either... We're gonna want to Crushing Hand this guy. We can do it right now, in fact. Let's just Crushing Hand him right now. Cool, alright. Crushing Hand down. Alright, now we have a few options here. We do want to do some more damage to this guy. Do we want to deal 2? Usually you want to say, okay, 2 for 2, that's a very good play. However, it's not fantastic. It's not really the optimal play there. It turns out we want the Leper Gnome to die. And even though we're using 3 attack, it'll actually get us a little extra damage. So let's use the Leper Gnome. Deals 3 because of the Death Rattle, and then it dies and deals... No, deals 2 because of the Death Rattle, and then 3 because of the Hydra. And now 11, and we have 7, 8... So we just need to find 3 damage, and you know what? Let's let Thrall get in here, just for the sake of things. Here you go, Thrall. Welcome to the party. So the Rock Rider does the final 3 points of damage. Was the message there? Okay. A great job indeed. Thank you. If I do say so myself, I think that was pretty good. Anyway. Ah, this puzzle. Okay, so selective stampede. Kinda? Yeah. Actually, yes, very much so selective. Alright, so it's important to note, well, Tundra Round is on that side. We don't have any way to steal it, but we have some beasts in hand. This is a beast. This is a pretty big beast, in fact. If this can go face, that's going to be a lot of damage we don't have to worry about. And the only way to get this thing on our side of the board, in a sense, is to facelessly manipulate it. There's nothing else we really want to copy. So let's totally do that. Alright, cool. Now all our beasts have charge. That gives us a few more options. What do we do from here? Well, we got... You have to get through this taunt. If we can attack it with this thing, which clears the taunt, this dies, whatever it uses attack. However, it's kind of a waste of 8 damage. There's a lot of damage. Is there any way you can just, like, deal 4 to it? Let's take a look here. Let's see. Well, we can play the Bloodfen Raptor. We can do the Fireplume Phoenix. Let's do the Raptor. It's a beast. We can attack with it. Let's just go there. Notably, we don't want to play the Timberwolf right now. We could, but it'll die to this Death Rattle. So we want to hold off on the Timberwolf as much as possible. Let's Raptor. Okay, Raptor goes in. Not quite lethal. We can do 1 more point of damage. We could do it with the Tundra Rhino, but then the effect goes away because it kills the Tundra Rhino and the Death Rattle, so we definitely don't want to do that. We can just throw a Timberwolf in by itself, but we lose points of damage on these 2. Emerald Hive Queen is actually our minion choice here. We'll hit it for the 2. It makes our minions cost more, but it's going to die. It's slightly wasteful for 1 damage, but luckily it's built in where you don't need to worry about that. And now, finally, we can Timberwolf. Timberwolf versus Hero Power. Timberwolf will buff both of these things, dealing +2. This also deals 2, but this Timberwolf can also attack because of the charge. And that is the bonus we need. Here we go, finish off with the 9 damage. Alright, there's no one knocked out. I think it'd be cool if they actually didn't silence the giant sandworm, and you can like attack multiple times. It would break that puzzle, but if there was a way to like, you know, adjust the puzzle, which I'm sure there is, or just make a puzzle where you can do that, I think it'd be kind of neat. Alrighty, well, we have a bit of a buff Mana Addict. It's got some bananas to it. Look at that, the banana and the cold blood. So Mana Addict is very important. Whenever you cast a spell, it gains damage. So we want to cast as many spells as possible while going face. And when we kill the Hoarding Dragon, we're going to get 2 coins, which means we're going to play 2 more spells. So if we can kill this thing using a reasonable amount of resources, then I think we're going to be in good shape. Alright. So how are we going to do this? Well, first, let's do something somewhat obvious. Let's play the Razor Petal Volley, because it's a spell, generates 2 more spells, so that's kind of a safe bet right there. Okay. Another safe bet is to play the Counterfeit Coin, I believe, because just play it. First, let's backstab. We can only backstab 1 thing. It's a free spell, so let's just go for it. We're doing damage to our minion, but we're buffing it. It's attack, so that's useful. Okay. Now, beyond that, what do we want to do? We want to kill this thing, because if we get 2 coins, that'll get us like +4 attack, and that's pretty useful, I'd say. Okay, so we could also use this to deal 4 damage. Never thought about that, but I like the way where we kill more things and play more spells and have some fun. So let's go ahead and do that. Attack that. Oh, right, because it gets buffed by this, so it's basically like an extra point of damage there too. Alright. Razor Petal. 1, 2, awesome. Now this thing is dead. Let's play all our coins because there's no reason not to. Coin, counterfeit coin, silver versus coin. Alright, we got more mana. This thing's getting buffed up a lot. Alright, look at that. What are our remaining options? Well, we could play this. It would trigger the combo and give you +3, basically +5 attack. Okay. And that'd be the last spell we do. And we'd be down by 5. So that's not good. Good wanted, only hits a minion. Not so good there. Would also give us a coin, but that's not so useful. Rage Petal is nice. We could hit her in the face. It goes to 29. This goes to 23. Shadow Strike, although less often used, deals 5 damage to an undamaged character. It can hit face. In this case, she is at full health, so 5 damage to you. Puts you at 25. You get buffed at 22. The only thing we can do is Rage Petal. Let's hit her in the face with that as well. 24 and 24, and that is Electro Storm Surge done. Which brings us to the final lethal puzzles, and oh boy, are they fun. Alright, there we go. Oh, and Dr. Boom makes his first appearance here. From a cannon. I just love like the sarcasm and stuff from this guy. It's great. Okay, so now at this point, usually there's a little animation that goes on. It's like, hey, and then a little steamy thing, and then this thing becomes available. So let's. It's Boom's Day. All right, let us take on the Boom Man himself, Dr. Seven, in the hero, I would say flesh, but I don't know. He's like a hero, and this is like one of the few people who actually can play as Dr. Boom. Alright, here we go. Lethal, what do you know?
Only particles.
Well, I mean, you could collide just a whole lot of particles. Alright, Pirates and Patrons. I believe this is a puzzle that was analyzed, or brought up by Trump a while ago, back when Patron Warrior was in his prime, where he was like, well, if your opponent has 32 and you have to get through this, like, how do you do it given these things? Like, there's gotta be some way to do it. And yes, there is. So what do we have here? We have Whirlwind. Okay, that's nice. Great for triggering patrons, because whenever they take damage and they don't die, it summons a new patron. Alright, Slam. Pretty useful too. A little damage there can hit a full health patron. Fiery War Axe. Okay, some damage. War Axe, nice. Super Soldier, which is just pre-nerf. What the heck's it called? I don't even remember the name anymore. It's not Garrison Commander. I don't know what the heck it's called. But basically, this is a pre-nerf card that used to give all minions charge. It's actually not full pre-nerf, it's like mid-nerf. Because it used to be all your minions have charge when you got it, and that'd be a hell of a thing. So, that's going to be very useful for bringing some more damage out there. Falling Berserker with the Whirlwind and Patrons, oh hell yeah. Death's Bite is worth noting that when it has its death rattle go off, it, you know, triggers a Whirlwind effect. And then 2 Dread Corsairs. So first, we know this guy's going to have to get buffed and get on the board. We have to play the Super Soldier first, in order for this thing to be able to attack. Okay. Now we know playing these 2 guys is going to be very useful. And we want them to be free because their cost decreases based on the attack of the weapon. Either weapon will make them free. However, if we play the Death's Bite, then we can play these 2 guys, but then that cuts us out of playing the Slam or the Whirlwind. If we play the Fire or Axe, we can play both of these. So that is definitely the way we want to go. Alright, let's drop a Dread Corsair. Now this is where a lot of people play a Whirlwind, because it would fill your board at this point, which is kind of nice. However, we still want to get the most damage out of this that we can. A lot of this is just trial and error and seeing how things work out. It's worth noting, like I mentioned before with another Berserker encounter, that when a minion attacks the minion, he gets 2 attack instead of just 1. And these guys, they're just 3 attack dudes. These have actually, you know, something going for them. They can spawn more dudes. This is just 3 attack. So let's knock him out of there. And you know what? Let's send the other one in there too. Why not? Get out of here, Dread Corsair. Your usefulness is gone. Okay. Alright, now we have the Slime, and notably, we can run the Grim Patron into this without dying. We could, of course, use the weapon and then just Whirlwind and something and go, but we end up being a little damage short. We want to trigger this to get an extra patron on the board. Okay, that's pretty nice. Now what do we want to do? Well, we can Slam. We can certainly Slam, that's an option, but then it gets our board a little more full than we want to. If we Whirlwind right now, it will spawn 2 more patrons. We want to get that extra patron out there. This one's going to die, but it already did this damage. So let's Whirlwind right now. Beast. are both spawn patrons, and this is going to... Basically, let's consider this. If we had slammed first, we would have had one more patron. But one less that can attack. So it would get one more damage out there on the Frothing Berserker. So basically it's +1 damage versus +3. So we net 2 damage from this. Now for the final bit of damage we want to do, if we slam a patron, we spawn a new patron and buff this guy. So you just have to make sure we slam one that has 3 health. So there we go, slam the patron, cool. And now everything goes to space and we take some fatigue damage. Huge shout out by the way. To both, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Space Monkey. Was a huge help in all these things. Helped me not quite lose my very last brain cell going through all these things. Thank you so much, Space Monkey. Also, there was Red. I believe was in my chat at the time when I was streaming these things and going through it for the first time. Oh, geez, big helpful. Thank you very much, guys, for helping me there. Would never have made it without you. Alright, now let's see. How do we do this one? Oh boy, you know what? I'm actually going to do a little something right here because, well, I'm trying to refresh my main right now. How do I do this? How do I do this? Okay, and essentially I'm actually cheating and I'm trying to figure out how to do this correctly. Okay, just making sure because I've gone through this a few times. I really don't want to mess up again. Alright. We have to get a lot of damage onto this thing, and Defile, although it's going to be useful, we don't have a whole lot of steps to go through. But if we can lower it down with the Pyromancer, that'd be great. So let's play the Pyromancer. Alright, now beyond that, we have the Power Tentacles, gives a whole lot of health. And this is going to be okay because we're going to Defile things away. But if we do that to this guy, we can play a lot more spells instead of him just killing himself. So let's play the Power Tentacles onto the Pyromancer, and the Spud goes over there. Okay, now we have the Circle of Healing. If we want to get any use out of this, like, you're just going to have to play another spell. Just little spoiler alert, you can't play all these things without the Circle of Healing going off. And if you play it any later, it's going to negate some of the damage here. So let's play the Circle of Healing right now. So it essentially gets 1 damage out, and it gets the Spud back over here. Okay, cool. That's great. Now the Spud's here. What can we do now? Well, we could play Haunted Creeper and stuff, but I think we want Haunted Creeper to be at 2 health, actually. So, we're going to recharge. It's basically the battery, but, you know, it's whatever it is. Alright, so let's see here. Yes, indeed. Recharge. 1 more damage. There goes the Spud 1 more time. Now, we have to Holy Smite the Spud to bring the health down a little bit lower. And we're going to be able to get things to work out with the teacher as well. There we go. Spud is smited. You know why I didn't do that? Is because, I did this a different way in my stream, actually. But this is going to work out, too. Alright, now the key here is to play the Violet Teacher. And then to just double Defile. Just note that when you play Defile, this actually spawns a 1 health minion first before it does the whole damage. So it's going to spawn a little dude.
I'm ready to
deal 1, cool. Deal 2. Alright, that's cool. And then if we play another one, oh, then the thing goes off there. And goes to this side. So now if we play 1 more Defile, it'll spawn the dude. It'll kill it to deal 1 damage. This is going to go to that side of the board. It'll do 1 more point of damage. The Wild Pyromancer effect is not going to matter for this Defile.
I'm ready to learn.
And there we go, that's one way to do it. There's another way to do it involving like Divine Spirit and like buffing things and like playing the Holy Smite on the potato at the end. That's actually what I did, but that was cool too. Never go full Northshire. Never go full Northshire unless you're trying to complete the puzzle. So, if that's all a little hint, we see that there are no cards in the opponent's deck and they have 435 health. That's a lot of health. We don't have any way to deal more damage through attacks. We don't even have any way to attack at all. The only damage we have is, well, we can Elven Archer your face. And now can I Soul Priest your face. Cool. Okay, so we have 1 card in the deck. It's always useful to get, like, all the information out of it. There's actually someone else, Kirby IHOP, that was watching me do these things. And through a few puzzles, I didn't see what was left in the deck. And he was like, just see what's in the deck, and then you can try again if you messed up. So let's see what's in the deck. You can Power Word Shield. Wow, storm, the rain's coming down. Literally anything. I'm just gonna Power Word Shield right here. Okay. Oh, Wild Pyro. Cool. All right. Also, the hint for the never go full Northshire means we're gonna need our opponent to draw 1,000,000 cards and fatigue. Notably, we have this card called the Swap. And I just realized it's like a drug deal going down. Okay. Interesting. It's not a drug deal, it's just giving us lunch. Or, you know, the science. He's giving to him the science. And so we're going to want to play multiple Northshire clerics and then give them all to the opponent. How are we going to do that? Well, we have the Lab Recruiter to do that very thing. So let's Lab Recruiter. We're going to put some more in our deck.
And you.
Okay, cool. So we have that. Now let's do something to the Lab Recruiter. What are we going to do here? I said shoot. Ah, yes. So let's play the Elven Archer. The way we're going to be able to draw them is we're going to obviously heal, and that's going to be our draw. So we want to be able to heal 3 things in order to draw the 3 things there. And we're going to get the damage out to them with the Wild Pyromancer. So first, let's play the Elven Archer. And let's just do a little bit of damage here. Okay. Alright, now let's play the Wild Pyromancer. He's going to hurt himself. We don't want to overdraw at all, because that's kind of painful. Alright, we can do that. And you know what? We might as well just get the mana coming back right now. That's what we need to do, so we'll do that. Alright, there we go. Now, perfect. We have 3 things that can get healed. And we don't want to use the Circle of Healing right now, because we're going to use that as like the big finisher. It heals everything. And we want to give our opponent the Northshire Clerics and then go for the big heal. But luckily, the Fungal Enchanter will heal us, as well as all our minions. So that will be able to allow us to draw 3. And the opponent draws some as well for that, which is kind of useful. Alright, beyond that, we want to just send the Northshires out there and go crazy. So, Northshire. Cool. Oh, jeez. Actually, 4 Northshire.
Is someone injured?
Alright, another Northshire. I believe we cannot play the last Northshire. And the reason being is, when we do the swap, we're going to inherit this one. It swaps the minions. It doesn't just give it all to him. We're going to take this one. And we're going to use the Treachery to give that one back. If we played another Northshire, it would still switch boards, and they would have 4 Northshires, but we'd have 1, and we would end up killing ourselves through the Circle of Healing. So, at this point, is this the point where we want to do it? Let's see. Yeah, it is. So we want to swap at this point now. Let's see. Yeah. Do we want to swap? Oh, I think that might be too early. No, we want to Binding Heal, because swap is not going to trigger the Wild Pyromancer. So let's Binding Heal. Restore if to a minion your hero, sure. To trigger the Pyro. Anybody, really, it doesn't really matter. Let's just do this one, I guess. As long as you don't heal this one, because that'll make you draw a bunch of cards and lose. Alright, cool. Now let's swap. Alright, Pyro didn't go off. We can Treachery to give him the final Northshire, so we don't kill ourselves until we get the extra damage. And then Circle of Healing comes down. And the button is not green, which means we did it! And we have 1 more to go. These might take a while. So, how's your day going? Yeah? It's a quick little downpour. I mean, it's still kind of raining, but it's not as bad as it was. Having a good one. I'm looking forward to hopefully streaming a few, Pink Murphy! Yeah, this is Murphy. Pink Mercy's shirt. Looking forward to, probably gonna stream some competitive Overwatch. Might put that on YouTube as well. I want to get some games on YouTube, but every time I do it, I'm like, well, this is kind of boring. I lose 2, and then what do they accomplish? Nothing. So, I'd like to do that. Probably not for this season, because this is the last day of the month. Probably for the next season. See if I can get a good climb. I really want to hit Legend. I have not hit Legend yet. I've gotten kind of close. The best I've gotten is rank 4, which is kind of close. But I really think I can get there. I have quite a few cards. I have the dust to craft a couple things, so I think we can do it. I mean, I think I could probably do it with the cards I have right now, but... there we go. And a little extra damage just for the hell of it. Cool. Oh, even more. Damn. Alright, there we go. And there's the thing. Notably, if you keep the Northshire inside the board by accident, and you draw the things and you both die, it'll still show the little shine thingy, like, hey, you did it! And then it resets the puzzle because you died. I'm like, really? Oh my goodness, come on! Alright, but now, for the final lethal puzzle. To round things out, we have Northshires again. This one was called Full Northshire, I believe. These skulls just kind of looking at you like, hey, I see what you did there. Alright. This time we gotta go Full Northshire. And once again, just to let you know, we have a Wild Pyromancer in the deck. However, this time is very different because we have to deal a lot more damage. If we go through pretty much the same steps as last time, we note that even though we deal over 400 damage, maybe if it's around like 500 or so, it doesn't deal 999, doesn't deal 1,000. So, how do we get that to go off? Well, also we don't have the lab recruiter, right? But we do have the undercover reporter. It puts 2 copies instead of 3, but that's exactly what we need in this case. We want to put the copies on top of the deck. Notably, it does say, let me just get it back to the hand so I can see. It puts the copies on top. Initially, the first few times we went through, I was like, okay, let me, play the shield, get this guy out here, and then I can play this to put the 2 copies in there and draw the 2. Turns out that's not what you want to do. It's a bit misleading, but this is what you want to do. Alright, we want to get the Northshire Clerics on top of the deck. Alright, cool. Now we want to play the Elven Archer and shoot something. Doesn't really matter too much. I'll shoot Sylvanas because I love her so much. Okay, now we want to just heal something to get the 1 out there. Is that right? Yeah, we can do this in either order, I believe. So let's just heal to draw. Yes, because you want to get our... Is that what we want? I feel like I want to play the Power Word Shield first on the Elven Archer. Sorry, a little digression here, but I believe that that is actually the correct play, and I might be messing up. Don't want to screw up too much, or do I want the Power Word Shield so I get the effect to go off with the Wild Pyro? Oh, okay. No, I do want a Power Word Shield first. Okay, right. Because then it'll let me draw 2. Okay. Oof, almost messed up there. Oh, no. Okay, Power Word Shield, of course. Now we can play the Northshire Cleric that we just drew. And then we can heal Sylvanas, and that'll let us draw 2 more cards. That's all the cards in our deck. Okay, awesome. So now, well, you may as well just play the Cleric, I believe. That makes sense. Does it make sense to play the Cleric? Alright, here we go. So now let's play the other Cleric.
Is someone injured?
Okay, right, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And we can refresh right now. We have plenty of spells to be able to trigger the Wild Pyro to do all the damage. So let us use the battery pack to refresh our mana. It's very nice. Also, the reason that we use the Power Word Shield on the Elven Archer is because she would normally die after 1 spell going through the Pyro. And we want her to survive to get the extra healing out there to really punish Dr. Boom. Alright, so we got that. Now we just go for the swap right now. Cool, alright, we're gonna swap them. Seems decent, seems like similar thing that we did last time. And of course we want a Treachery. But before we do that, let's play the Pyromancer. In this case, we have the unique opportunity to be able to Pyromancer first and then Treachery in order to get the extra damage out there. This is also very important. We're going to damage our Wild Pyromancer. So Treachery here. Wild Pyro gets hit. Okay. Now if we heal our Wild Pyro, that's going to be some pretty good damage going out there, isn't it? Yes, it is. And let's see. That's kind of the key thing. If you do this in the opposite order, then you don't get the extra draw, which is a lot of damage. So, we Fungal Enchanter. Heals up our Pyro. Also keeps him alive for this next step. And a whole lot of draw comes out here. Alright, next up we have to heal a minion with the Binding Heal to get even more damage out there. And this thing only has 1 health, so if we heal it, then it'll be able to take the 1 damage from Pyro and survive. So do that. Heal, a bunch more card draws. Pyro's going to go off and bring it down to 1. If we healed anything else, that would die, and we would not be able to complete the puzzle. We would not be able to get the full effect of the Circle of Healing. There we go. This isn't really too bad. You know what it is. Alright, ready for the most card draws you've ever seen? Circle of Healing. And that, my friends, is how we do it. Sorry, I had to cut away a little bit just to make sure because I'm trying to do this all in 1 take. And let me give you a hint, this is not the first time I've done it. This is like the 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th time. As I kept screwing up a little bit here and there, I was like, oh god, no, not again, I gotta go through the whole puzzle. So I really wanted to make sure I got this far. Want to get it knocked out. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be posting the solutions to the other puzzles as well. So stay tuned for those. Once again, I know it's a little late for these things to go through, but I'm sure everyone hasn't completed the puzzles. Maybe someone's gonna be fresh to it. You know, people are gonna make new accounts. Who knows when? And maybe they'll happen to look at it and be like, oh hey, this is how we complete the levels. Cool. Thank you, Shadow13. Thanks, Bubble Heart. So please stay tuned for those. Of course, if you you want to support me a little more, you can subscribe. I'm just trying to kill time here, and there's plenty of time to kill. As well as just going to my Twitch if you want to follow me. That'd be greatly appreciated. I do more than Hearthstone. I'm playing Hearthstone. I'm gonna play some Fortnite, Overwatch. Definitely. Here's the Storm. I want to get into that a little bit more. And that's a fun one. Just played some Maiev earlier today, and that was a lot of fun. She's a really not high skill cap, but like played in a lot of like higher tier events, and I can kind of see why, because oh my god, she's so great, and I got a lot of ways to go with her, but a lot of fun. Beyond that, just hope everyone's having a good day. We're almost done here. There we go, just a couple more draws. And let's see, I don't want to just keep talking and fill up time with nonsensical babble. There we go, with a little glow, and just for the hell of it, a little more damage. And that is the final lethal puzzle done. Once again, thank you very much. I'm going to leave on this victory stream because you know what? We are victorious today. So, as my outro goes, good night or good morning, depending on what time it is. But as always, good luck.